I could talk for a long time about geophysics and earth science, but that's not why I'm here exactly. Today is really about you, each and every one of you. I'm only here because of people like you, my bus drivers, the janitor, the office staff, and especially my teachers. I could name every one. Most were very good, and a few were exceptional. But every one of them had an impact on my life. That impact was both immediate, and it helped to build my entire life. I wonder if they knew what they were doing. Not what they were doing as teachers, but the impact. As Netta mentioned, Mrs. Allen from Barron's and Mr. Dunn from Lethbridge are two that absolutely stand out in my mind. Thank you, Mrs. Allen, Mr. Dunn. Now, neither one of those teachers took me under their wing or did anything especially personal. They just enjoyed what they were doing and made it special to all of us in their classes. They likely had no idea of the impact that they were having on my life. So your predecessors helped me to learn and helped me in general as well. Now think about this and expand my universe. Now we're talking about a farm kid from Barron's in the 1950s and 1960s. My world was pretty small back in those days. So let me try to speak a bit about your place in a kid's world from my perspective. Palliser is a large corporation, and if it's like most school divisions, there may not be a lot of ways to reimburse you for effort above and beyond. I've spent a lot of my life volunteering, and I'm going to try and build a theme comparing my volunteering to your teaching. So my volunteering has not really been handing out food at the food bank. It's been helping students to learn about science, earth science, and physics, and helping to organize and efficiently run, as Netta mentioned, the CSEG Foundation and other organizations. Now, although you are all paid to help the kids in your care, I'd like to draw the parallel that you are acting as volunteers when you go above and beyond. And when you volunteer that extra heart or energy or engagement to your students. Because when you do go above and beyond the daily job, when you connect with your students, when you find the key to that student or the magic that turns on their light bulb, when you let that student know that you really want them in your class, and when you smile and say, well done, then you are like a volunteer, and those kids will remember you forever. We were talking about this earlier. I want to talk a bit about a hot topic these days. It's called climate change. As an earth scientist, I can tell you that the Earth's climate has always been changing. Out of the 4 billion odd years of our planet's life, we humans have been around for about 200,000 or 300,000 years, and our climate has seesawed during that time. Now, rather than discuss what might be happening right now, I'd like to take you back about 300 years or so. So everybody needs to close your eyes for a moment. Please don't fall asleep. Close your eyes for just a minute. Think about the comforts of life in the Vulcan area 300 years ago. Yeah, and keep that thought tucked away. Now, you'll likely recall that we landed a man on the moon 50 years ago, back in 1969. At that time, the #1 career choice among students was, what do you think? Anybody? Astronaut. What do you think, according to the radio the other day, the #1 career choice is today? It's to be a YouTube star. Yeah, a YouTube star. So back to 300 years ago, how have we adapted in that 300 years? And what enabled us to adapt? Picture, you can close your eyes again maybe if you'd like. Picture a clear, cold winter day here in Vulcan area 300 years ago. What the dwellings were like, how food was obtained, and how people tried to keep warm. Scroll back to today and how we've developed fuels to heat our homes, cook our food, and our homes in general, fridges, freezers. How we've learned how to farm and provide food. My grandfather used to use a plow pulled by a team of horses, and that was barely over 100 years ago. Think about our methods of travel and communication today, our medicine and our health facilities, pretty much everything that we've got. The YouTube star might tell us that we have to stop. Well, we can't stop. Our civilization is too complex, and there's too many people on Earth to just stop. Think for a moment what happens even when your electricity goes out for a few hours. We have to adapt. We need scientists, researchers, engineers to help us develop ways to live better, to develop our technology, not for smarter phones, but for better ways to live on this crowded Earth. Now, does the need for scientists, I'm pitching science here, of course, does that rule out the need for teaching humanities? Of course not. Because we need well-educated people with inquisitive minds, able to read and to speak well. Used to be able to say write well, but apparently nobody writes anymore. We need people who are able to discern likely reality or fact from the overwhelming amount of angawa, which is a scouting term, long story, or baloney, the overwhelming amount of baloney that is being disseminated today. Even in my lifetime now, granted that's gone on for a while now, even in my lifetime we stopped acid rain, and except for maybe Victoria, we've stopped dumping untreated sewage into rivers and lakes and the ocean. We went from burning wood and soft coal to heat our homes and cook our food. We got rid of vehicles that poured black or blue smoke out of their exhausts. We made the water of the Great Lakes drinkable again, and we began to explore our solar system and beyond. The YouTube star sure did not do that. So who did do it? The people that people like you educated and helped and nurtured. That's who did that. Now, we have some big challenges facing us in the world today, but it is doable. You are the people to prepare our kids to take on that challenge. You've probably heard the starfish on the beach parable. Thousands of starfish have washed up on the beach. A little boy is diligently, one by one, throwing the starfish back into the ocean. Man comes up and he says, "Little boy, you have an impossible task. You cannot make any difference to those thousands and thousands of starfish." The little boy bends down, picks up one more starfish, throws it back into the ocean, and he says, "I made a difference to that one." So, in closing, you are the people that make a difference, one student at a time. And I wish you good luck, and thank you for having me here.